So, the obvious question I think any sports fan has basically sometimes is why does an owner or new owners want to relocate the team? Instead of doing what's best, for the city and the town, the region that the team is located in. Well, obviously it has to do with money. It has to do basically with money, like how much more money can they make if they relocated to a different, area, a different region, a different state, a different city. Like how much more money can they rake in by those, by those people, those fans, attending, the events, attending the games and all that. The other thing as well is, they do the other thing as well is because they know that if a fan is excuse me, is committed to their team, very much, that that fan will spend a lot of money just to go and see their team on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis or monthly basis as much as they can, whether it's in the new city or it's away or it's maybe close to where they used to be. They know those fans will go and travel. So basically, money is the main reasoning. The other reasoning, obviously, is they look at the region, the city that the team is in, and in their perspective, it just doesn't fit their vision. Like fans can come out and say, "Look, this city is, is home to this team. This team is, you know, rooted here. You can't take them away from us and everything. You can't move them away from us." But for a lot of owners, they don't care because they don't care how you envision it as a fan. It's more like of how they envision it, like what's more, suitable for them. And as I mentioned earlier, profitable. That's why these owners, no matter what, no matter what the fan base may think, you know, they will essentially, as I just adjust something there, they will basically essentially just give you the bird, if you know what I mean, give you the middle finger, and just take the team elsewhere. They don't care what you feel. All they care about is profit and what their vision is about for the team more so than what you want. That that is the that is the antithesis, if you will, of the entire situation. I mean, historically, you look at a lot of teams that have relocated, throughout the past century and everything, and you can't tell me that fans throughout the hundreds of years of relocations, you can't tell me fans were not disappointed. One of the more historical significance and evidence of fans being, disappointed and upset and not trusting the guy that owned the team was the Colts. You know, the Colts basically, were a homestead of Baltimore for years, and, for years and years and everything. Even when they changed conferences from, AFC to NFC or NFC to AFC, they were still a homestead for Baltimore. But what happened? The owner, in the middle of the night, relocated the team to Indianapolis, and everybody in Baltimore, was upset. In fact, there are fans, even though they have the Ravens now and have like what, two Super Bowl championships under the belt, fans are still upset about that because it's like you basically gave your answer of how you feel about the fans. You just up and took the team overnight, away from us. And again, like I said, fans even to this day are still upset about that because that to them is the most blatant example of caring more about what you want, profitable wise and vision wise, than what the fans want. So, so yeah, when it comes down to it, that's basically what it is. When you really think about it, it's more about the owner and what they envision than what the fans envision. I mean, yes, there are owners out there. Don't get me wrong; that care about the fans, that want to give the fans what they want. But there are also owners that only care about money and only care about how they see it. They see profit over, they see profit over a fan's undying love for their team and commitment to their team. And the city's overall commitment and undying love to said team. All they care about is the money. They don't care about any of that. Be damned. Now, if it comes to relocation, maybe that's just across the way. That's a different story. Like with Golden State Warriors, yeah, they were always based in Oakland for quite some time. But when they relocated to San Francisco, yeah, did it hurt that they were leaving Oakland? Yes. But what helped them out is it was just across the bay. And over time, fans that were disappointed that they were leaving Oakland and everything for San Francisco got over it because they realized, oh, yeah, I could just, hop on the BART or, get in my car, go across the bridge and go to the Chase Center and watch my team there. They looked at the positive, not the negative. The other thing that also helped them is the name, Golden State, which meant, it didn't matter, where they went in the Bay Area. It could have been San Jose they could have gone to, and it wouldn't have mattered because the Golden State. They're not the Oakland Warriors. They're not the San Francisco Warriors like they were at one point. They're the Golden State Warriors. Thus, getting around the whole, well, if we relocate, it's not going to matter because we're representing the Golden State. The thing, because the big difference with them and let's say Sacramento is Sacramento basically not only would have relocated to Seattle, but the way things were going, they would have had a completely different name change. They would have been the new Seattle Supersonics. And here's the thing, I'm not saying Seattle ain't going to get a team soon. They are. I truly believe that. It just takes time. But the point I'm getting at is that Sacramento couldn't get around that easily, just like, get around that situation like, let's say, Golden State, because Golden State represents the whole state. Sacramento, let's say, even if they move from Sacramento to, let's say, Napa Valley, they could still call themselves Sacramento Kings if they're in that region, but they most likely call themselves the Napa Valley Kings. You get what I'm saying? Or if they went and moved from Sacramento to Castro Valley, if you will, they wouldn't be able to call themselves the Sacramento Kings anymore. They'd have to call themselves the Castro Valley Kings. You see what I'm saying? They couldn't get around it as easily as Golden State did. Golden State was able to get around it because it's just a hop, skip, and a throws away across the bridge from Oakland to San Francisco, and also the name Golden State helped them out. So the owners at least thought about the fans when they said, hey, we're going to relocate, but we're just going to go over the bridge, over to San Francisco. We're not going to be that far away from you guys. You could just, whoop, come right over, and there you go. But when it comes to other kind of relocations, it is hard. Like I said, the most infamous one was Baltimore. And then you take a look at Montreal. Everybody loved their Expos. They still want their Expos back. There is no doubt. But did the owners of the Expos care about that? No. They cared about money. They didn't care about the fact that Olympic Stadium was, a stadium that could be renovated and, renovated for modern times and all that. No. They cared about money. They cared about money. But in his thing, they didn't, and here's the negative thing against them though, they did not have a stadium ready until a couple of years later. So what they do, they had to play at RFK Stadium or whatever it was, Landover Stadium, RFK Stadium, for a couple of seasons before they moved into the stadium I think that they're currently in now. The point is basically the owner didn't care about what the city of Montreal thought. All they cared about was the money they were going to get from relocating the team. And stuff like that. Same with the Cleveland Browns, the original Cleveland Browns, before they became the Baltimore Ravens. The people of Cleveland didn't like the idea they were losing the Browns, but did the owner care? No. The owner did not care. He said, I'm taking them to Baltimore, end of story. And that's what happened. Same with the Houston Oilers. Houston went to Tennessee. They were the Tennessee Oilers for a season or two, but then they became the Titans. But do you think the owner cared? No. It was about the money. It was about the money and everything. That's all he cared about. The same thing could be said for the 49ers. Yes, similar situation as the Warriors in a sense, to where they're in Santa Clara now and they could still be called the San Francisco 49ers by default. But there were times during that process to where they either would have kept the San Francisco name or would have been redubbed the Santa Clara Niners. You know, so there were different things going around there, but at least the owner, at least the owners, of the 49ers, were thinking about the fans, and they realized, well, yeah, they'd still be the 49ers, but we can't take away the San Francisco name. So they kept it. The thing is, like I said, the thing is, outside of just a few rare instances where the owners do care about what the fans want, when it comes to relocation, or staying, in the area, with those very few rare instances throughout history, most of the time it's all about money. It's all about how the owner has a vision of how they see the team, succeeding and everything, and where they want them to succeed. Fans be damned. I mean, yeah, there is blame to be put around. Like, hey, we'll give this. Like the owners could say, look, City of Houston, we'll give you a chance to keep your Oilers. There are things like that would happen, and the city doesn't follow through on their end of the bargain, which makes it more easier for the owners to relocate. And yeah, that's a shame that when the city doesn't want to put forward and say, hey, we want to keep our team, to the owners, that shows them that, the people there don't care about that team as much, to keep them around if they're not going to fork over the money to maybe get renovations made to their stadium or the venue that they play in. So yeah, it makes it a lot easier if it doesn't seem like the city cares. But nowadays you have cities that do care, that want to keep their teams around because of the fact that they love that team, and that team has historical significance to the city through success and community contributions and all that, and they don't want to lose it. They don't. So when you get down to it, honestly, it's all about, like I said, it's all about, one, the greed. It's all about the greed and the fact that the owners, feel they know better than the fans of how the vision of the vision of the future of the team should go. And on the other hand, and the fans, the fans are basically put out the pasture. They'll put out the pasture. And yeah, again, I will say that blame does get, should be, given all around sometimes, because if the owners do say, hey, we're willing to let you keep the team, just fork over the money to keep the team around by renovating the stadium, the venue they're in, or giving us a new one. If the city and the people there don't want to do that and everything, then that's just another excuse for the owners to say, well, you don't care about the team as much as you say you are, so we're just going to go. And that basically is a red flag to the owners, because they're like, hey, you don't care about the team enough to keep them? Okay, here we go. And then that's it. And again, it all comes down to the money. It's like, if you fork over the money to keep your team, you're going to keep your team. You don't, then they're just going to go elsewhere where they know they can where they believe they can make a profit, and where they believe, from a vision perspective, they can have success. And that's kind of what's going on with Oakland A's right now. That's kind of what's going on with several teams in discussion for relocation. Even teams that have been a success, like the Tampa Bay Rays and stuff. This is all basically about greed and, looking at it from a vision that they feel is more profitable than them, and basically them looking at the fans and say, fans be damned. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Give me your thoughts down below. Superchats will be open. And until next time, I will talk to y'all later.